The besties, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we made it. After weeks on weeks of updates on updates, videos on videos, over a month since the debut of Realism Craft, so much warm, loving, generous support from all of you guys, my heart, it's never been warmer before. We finally made it at last, part 2. So yeah, over the past summer, while we've been diving into every nook, corner, and cranny of Realism Craft, well, there's been this little deal in the back of my mind that I made with you. When I made part 1 and we jumped into Realism Craft together for the first time, I said if the support was there and the support was warm, I would make a follow-up video, a part 2. After that, we ended up checking out the many updates that have since released and improved Realism Craft since its initial release. But every time, I said it's not part 2. Alright, so tap that like button and let's go. Realism Craft Part 2. So there are so many things that I really still want to check out inside of Realism Craft, including many different biomes under the ground, structures in the overworld, and even more like brand new mobs, including my dear friend Samuel in the suspenders over here. Whoo, buddy, you looking good. Did you just get back from the barber? That fade, it looks clean. Oh, what's that? You don't like your voice? You're shy about the camera? Okay, fine, valid. Yeah, so there are so many things in the overworld that we still haven't seen. But I was thinking quite a bit about how to go about part 2. What could I show off that maybe hasn't really been seen before, as maybe even perhaps unfortunately like a basement child or something been severely and dearly neglected. That's right, the dimensions. What I'm saying is I figured today we'll focus on the beautiful dimensions of Realism Craft. First up, the nether. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe in part 1 we slid into the nether. We checked it out, even if it was just a tiny bit. Wow, alright, so right off the bat, there's an elephant in the room. I can't not say anything about it. This netherrack, what in the world? It's like a merger between the OG classic netherrack that I was just remembering my love for, and our new, more modern, smooth netherrack. I don't know how to feel on it. Oh my God, you're one of the most terrifying things that I've seen in the entire world, though. Your aura was already terribly unhinged and terrifying. Why are you following me, Snow? Stop, it's my nightmare, no! Okay, I promise, I'll settle down, I'll take it serious. I had green tea, there's caffeine in it, I can't help it. So unlike in Reminiscence that we were just checking out, the biomes inside of Realism Craft, inside of the nether, they're gonna be pretty familiar looking. Like, you'll spot the biome and say, hey, that's the Basalt Deltas biome. I remember it. While we're here, the Basalt Deltas biome is one of the least changed nether biomes that I have found inside of this nether. Of course, we've got the brand new, revamped and improved, smoother textures. Love this basalt, it's so clean looking. But aside from that, the ambiance and overall, the generation, everything of it, it's pretty familiar. The biggest shocking change that I've found here is the magma cubes. What in the world? A brand new biome variant of these things, if you will. Oh, this throws me back to the nether update development, the Soul Sand Valley. Oh, and I'm recording this in 1.3. There are still a couple of visual glitches here, just we never saw them, all right? It's perfect, okay? Way back when, in the development of the nether update, even if it was a long shot speculation, like a little bit just for fun, when Soul Fire and all of the blue things were implemented, I remember speculation immediately going to, oh, what about a Soul Blaze inside of the Soul Sand Valley? Now, the blaze is absolutely terrifying and disturbing, as you would expect after taking a look at that monstrosity of a strider. But unfortunately, and huge proposition to the Realism Craft developers, make a Soul Sand Blaze variant for this biome where this thing is all the same exactly, except now, it's turned into blue Soul Fire. It'd be so fire. Now, moving around the rest of this biome, we'll find some very familiar mobs. That skeleton with that insanely good-looking quiver, please, allow me to have that. But then, terrain generation biome features, oh my God, I haven't seen you yet. Alright, so dwellers, a bunch of random terrifying things aside, I think this might be the actual genuinely scariest single thing that I've seen in the game. Why does it look so old, and why is it crying, and why does the side of it look like it has ribs on the side of it? Like it's so thin, it's gaunt from not even eating. I'm gonna go ahead and book it clean out of here with this nice running animation. The Soul Sand Valley biome, aside from insanely terrifying creatures, the rest of the thing is pretty much the same. The magma cubes inside of this biome are blue and cold, but it's all pretty much the same. I need to get out of here. Next up, while we're here, the nether waste biome. Kind of the same old for the nether waste biome as well. Inside of this biome, though, we can finally, at last, check out the plain old classic magma cube. The magma cube that spawns inside of the nether waste biome is like that orange one, and look at that. That has like jack-o'-lantern vibes, straight up. I can't believe it's already August. Spirit Halloween is gonna open up soon. The ores inside of the nether, they are so wild looking. The quartz right there, it's like a swirly swirl of goodness. We need more quartz blocks. The nether gold ore, that's pretty good looking too. 3 nether biomes down, 2 to go. The warped forest biome, the crimson, I don't know what you call it. That is 100% and certainly a brand new type of tree that you'll find generating inside of this biome. It's been amplified, thickened.
Thickened for sure. My. It's a beautiful looking tree.
You're gonna find larger ones. Also, our good old familiar friend, the piglet, and the hoglin as well. Look at that battle charge. They both sprint in the battle. I love it. Hoglin, fight back, do something. No, didn't even stand a chance. Oh, the dance though. Oh, the dance. What are the odds we see that? Check that dance right there. They squeeze their elbows together and just flex into the air. It's kind of wonderful. The biome is beautiful. I'm not gonna sleep in the blue one. Keep it in mind. We'll come back to it in a minute. After exploring for a little bit of time, one may get a little bit fortunate and stumble upon a little structure that I like to call the Bastion. Actually, kind of surprisingly, but logically, surprisingly, the Bastion hasn't really changed that much at all. I mean, inside of this thing, we're going to find one of the meanest, baddest looking mobs in the entire game, the Piglin Brute. Look at that thing with that giant 3D axe. Like, this thing is so much more hefty than the other piglins. Oh, it's terrifying. And the missing eye, too. No. I think maybe, like, the most terrifying, scary thing about all of this nether stuff today is the fact that, hey, nether upgrade template. What in the world? That is so rare. The biggest thing that Realism Craft has done to the nether to make it even more terrifying is take every single mob that exists here, maybe other than the piglin that is just kind of like normal looking, whatever, but every other mob is like a million times more terrifying. The blue biome, as we find the blue biome, and as you would suspect, other than maybe trees that are a little bit more chunky than before, the blue biome is pretty much the same. Realism Craft's whole big thing is special VFX settings. One thing that I would love to see maybe done inside of the Realism Craft nether is maybe a little bit of like lens flare going on when you look at maybe some of the lava occasionally, or maybe like the glowstone, or really just anything. Another thing that, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I've been exploring the nether quite a bit over the past month or so, but another thing that I haven't really noticed is very many new or custom structures across essentially the entirety of the nether. This thing is essentially a blank canvas for the future of Realism Craft. Oh, and his Oglin is terrifying looking. Like, it's so pale. Blocks, nethery blocks, we've got quite a few. The beautiful smooth basalt. So this looks like a block where if I touch this thing, like merely just brush against it, I get this like black texture on my hand. It's like sooty or whatever, and then I gotta go wash it off. Polished basalt, it actually is turned into like a proper pillar. I mean, already before it's got pillar vibes, but you take this and now it's like a, maybe like you could totally make a dead tree or something like that out of this stuff. Gilded blackstone is one of the more forgotten and interesting blocks inside of Minecraft, at least in my opinion. The texture actually hasn't changed that much. And speaking of not changed very much, if I was a little bit more clueless to Realism Craft like I was in the good old simpler olden days, I would say this texture is unchanged completely, but I think it's changed. It's just so subtle. Another one I thought you might be intrigued in is the netherite block. Yeah, so the netherite block is pretty samey looking too, except if only this block wasn't so expensive, because this would make a beautiful, maybe like the best stone factory floor that you could ever dream of. The lodestone, it's essentially the same. The respawn anchor, it's a little bit different, essentially the same. The crying obsidian, whoa, that's way more pulsing with purple veins than before. It's beautiful. These blocks are all nice, but it's all culminating this moment right here. This single, most beautiful new nether block. By far, and it's not even close as the quartz family. What they've done to the quartz set of blocks is the best thing in all time of all time. These things are so good looking. You've always wanted the clean, polished marble floor of your dreams. Yeah, it's there. The quartz pillar, I mean, it's a good looking accent right there, but this thing right here, wow, that is so stunning. The quartz bricks texture in like vanilla Minecraft, I mean, it would benefit so much from just like even a subtle roughing up of the texture. It might be the best brick texture in all of Minecraft. Next up, there's only one place and one place only that we could go, but before that, I'd like to take a look at these beautiful looking textures because the bricks have turned into tiles. Oh, and shout out to the most uneasy Enderman spawn egg of all time. Yeah, the endstone bricks, I love the idea of some square bricks. They've almost turned into tiles, at least on the item form, but once I start placing them down, I'll realize something fascinating is going on here. The item, like when you place it down, well, it's sort of tied to the block that you place it on, if you will, almost like flower placement and how it's randomized. The texture of the endstone brick has a bunch of different variants to it. Now, on one hand, this might be a little bit frustrating to build with, like if you're trying to go for a certain specific vibe or you want a specific type of endstone brick, but on the other hand, wow, that's a fascinating idea. This is one of the most interesting concepts for a block that I have ever seen, and doing things this way, you end up with not only the cross tile looking thing, but a swervy curve, a more normal looking brick, and yeah, wow. I don't got much else to say about it, but I thought it was really interesting, right? Off to the end. Now, I figured today we'll save the stronghold for maybe a different look another time. But for today, oh my god, I can't believe it. I actually done it myself. Ignore the end portal frames in my inventory. I found this randomly in the wild. We lighted. All right, so first up, VFX. It's all about the thing inside of Realism Craft. Look at the lighting, the fog, the haze that comes from the end portal frame. It's so cool looking. I'm surprised the nether portal doesn't get more of a vibe like this, but yeah, that's insane. That's powerful looking. It looks so good, and it's enticing me. It's drawing me to pull in and just jump into the portal. Oh, it's so good sounding. So right off the bat, inside of the end, everything is very familiar looking. One of the best spawns of all time, but wow. I'm speechless. I'm stunned. I don't know what to say. The Aurora Borealis is so beautiful and pretty looking. In part 1, I don't remember if I ever ended up adding it into the video or not, but I had jumped into the end a little bit and checked it out. The uneasy feeling that you are going to get all over this dimension. If you wanted this place to feel like space and feel like the end of a life or something, limbo if you will, well, you've got it. The Enderman's posture being so hunchbacked and everything, I mean, it's just so much more disturbing. The ambiance here too, like the echo that's going on. Why have they not added this to the end, at least in vanilla Minecraft? It's so good looking. Looking, feeling, whatever. But speaking of good looking, the Ender Dragon, it's like a real dragon now. Look at the spikes on the back of this thing. The fog, the smoke, the breath, whatever. This thing is by far one of the baddest, coolest looking dragons that I have ever seen in all of Minecraft. Pair it with like the echoey ambiance of the end dimension that feels so devoid and void of life. Wow. And whoa, hold up. The bedrock right here. I don't know if I ever showed you this one quite yet, but bedrock, it actually looks like a updated and modern block now. Like, I don't have much more to say about it, but just take a look at it again. This dragon, the animations, the breath blowing, it reeks, it stinks. It's, for the 18th time today, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The rest of the whole dragon fight, it's gonna be exactly the same. The one you know and love. The end crystals are pretty trippy looking too. Like, look at that. Not only the bottom of them, that's pretty good looking, but the top of it. Those colors are almost like a little vapor wavy looking, right? Dragon schmaggin. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and take out the Ender Dragon, or with my gamer's intuition, I could just wander off about 1,000 blocks into the void to find the rest. Now, out here in the outer end, the ambiance has entirely shifted. Over back at the beginning, we had that like beautiful aurora thing going on, the northern lights, if you will. Out here, everything is a little bit more wasted feeling, with this echoey sound that is like, I never know if it's gonna be captured and picked up inside of the video, but like with this echoey sound, it feels so hopeless and just a feeling of despair out here, especially with these creepy endermen and then this dried out looking skulk fruit. But yes, very familiarly, we will be able to find still one of the most beautiful structures in all of Minecraft. Overall, the rest of the end out here, it's another blank canvas for the future of Realism Craft. I would love to see them come back in here and maybe even add some biomes, or at the least, just custom terrain detailing. Like maybe some rocks and craters all across this end to make it feel even more just desperate. The end city though, I had to show it to you for a couple of different reasons. Reason number one, purpur and the endstone brick texture, like the crazy randomness that's going on, it plays out so well inside of this thing. The purpur texture, a block that I always sleep on inside of vanilla Minecraft, it also looks so good here, and randomization, it kind of has the same thing going on. When I place it down, sometimes I'll get the normal block, other times I get like little details on the different tiles. If you weren't too much of a fan of like the randomization with the endstone bricks, well, this one is a little bit more consistent because it seems like every single time, no matter what, you're always going to get the crosses. It's just you'll get different textures inside of it, so it kind of actually plays out really nicely if you were trying to say like build a wall or something and have like a little bit of built-in randomization, detailing, and texturing. The shulkers, what do they look like? Well, they're standing in midair. It's pretty crazy. But they actually look pretty familiar. Like the inside model, I'm not even sure if that's been changed at all. I can't tell. Oh man, this end ship out here sitting right above the void. No, thank you. Absolutely not. On the front of the end ship, though, we will find it. Just like that amazing dragon, the dragon head item has been updated, and that is so cool looking. It's actually kind of crazy. The eyes have basically been removed, so you can kind of see right through it. As you would expect, you could absolutely put the dragon head on, but now, because it's Realism Craft, we need to make it real and all. The dragon head being so large and massive, well, all of a sudden, my head has gotten so large and massive as well. I'm kind of shocked that I can still fit in all of these small corners and spaces. Surprisingly, the dragon egg is pretty unchanged looking as well. But of course, what would an end adventure be without checking out the true prize of the end? Is the true champion, now looking a little bit more aged and dusty than ever before, the elytra. Out here inside of the end, in a space that looks so just like empty and creepy, we have these cool particles. It's such a subtle thing, but they actually drift upwards really, really gently, which helps make this feel, I mean, it's these tiny little particles subtly drifting up that makes me feel like I'm actually slowly drifting away from the planetary body that sits beneath me. But out here inside of the end, dragon head elytra equipped to take a look at the dragon mouth. It's it's talking like me. Oh, it's crazy looking. It's just crazy and so like creepy feeling. It puts such a big highlight on the fact that the end, like at the least, it just needs a subtle ambiance update. In vanilla Minecraft, you update really just the subtle things, the particles, the sounds, and well, and all of a sudden you practically have a new space. It's safe to say, Realism Craft's dimensions, they're pretty cool. So that's just about all I have for you today, lads. If you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to support the channel a little bit more directly, consider becoming a channel member today. Tap join for more info. So, would you like to see a part 3? If you would, let me know by tapping the like button. And what would you maybe like to see showcased in part 3? Do you have Realism Craft and you found the most amazing thing in the world, or something specific you're looking for? Remember that Realism Craft has got an official Discord. I'll try and remember to link it down below, and the subreddit. If you play this stuff and you found something amazing, built it good, well then share whatever that thing is over on the subreddit. I'd love to see. This has been me, the most beautiful dragon. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.